Good morning and welcome to another edition of Mark's Inspiration. Glad you could join me here today. As always, I'm a little winded. I just finished running. I haven't been running too much lately, but I've started again. We're going to talk today about pushing yourself beyond your limits, or at least what you think your limits are. And we're going to get to it right after this, and as soon as you smash that like button and subscribe. And before I begin, welcome to my new subscribers. We now have 1,380 people following here or subscribing or whatever, and I appreciate you all. If you weren't here, neither would I be. Is that correct? All right, see you in a minute. You have to be strong enough to endure these things. You have to approach women. With today's social media, she's constantly being hit on. Women are always in the game. You have to stay focused. We are men. That's what we do. All right, let's get after it. I'm still a little winded. I only ran about 1.5 miles, but I just ran probably only a quarter mile first till I wore myself out. And that's from a guy who has ran marathons. I did half Ironmans. I boxed for years, amateur, professional. I did 10Ks, 5Ks, blah, 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 the whole shit, right? But for the last couple of years, I haven't run much. So I ran about a quarter mile, and then I did telephone poles. I'd sprint a telephone pole or two and then walk one telephone pole. But the value of that, as in any kind of sport where you push yourself, for example, when I was running, I thought, man, I can make it to the next lane. And then when I would get about to the next lane, I would think, man, I can at least make it to the next driveway. And this is pushing yourself truly beyond your comfort zone. And what kills most men, I don't know about women, but men, is living in the comfort zone. And when you take measures or put out efforts to push yourself past your comfort zone, I mean, for me, it was comfortable running for the first, let's say, 1/8 of a mile. Then it got uncomfortable, and then it got more uncomfortable. So you push yourself to the point where you're maybe almost sick. I know that sounds strange, but many people do get sick when they run or they compete or they push themselves too hard. But what this does, it raises your adrenaline and it releases oxytocin and serotonin. At least I think it does. No, I've read stories about it. They call that the runner's high. But you can get that from anything. Okay, and it's not necessarily just when you're running. It's the elation you feel afterwards and even later on during the day, because you've pushed your body beyond the limit. So it causes growth, it causes expansion. We talk about expansion and contraction. People who are depressed are contracted. They're not expanding, they're not pushing themselves. They're not, how do I say? They're not expanding. It's about the only way I know how to say it. They're trapped. Many people go to work every day. They come home, they watch TV, they go to work the next day. They work to get bread so they can eat bread to have enough strength to get more bread, if that makes any sense to you. They're just working to live and living to work, which is a dreary existence. I don't live to work and I don't work to live. I love what I do. Now, are there parts of my day that sometimes kind of suck? Yeah. For example, sometimes we climb 40-foot ladders. I don't mind that, but after about a half a day, or it gets to be about 2:30 in the afternoon, I'm getting pretty tired. When I get up to the top of that ladder, sometimes I got to take a little break for about a minute to catch my breath and to just kind of get my head together, because it takes quite an exertion to climb up to the top of that ladder. And then you work up there, you climb back down. But these things give you a zest for life, although it seems like you're putting so much out, you're taking all the zest out of you. But as in all aspects of life, whatever you put out there comes back to you. So if you're putting effort out into life and you're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, then somehow or another comfort and fulfillment comes back to you. I don't know how that works. I just know it works. It's one of those universal laws. So if you're not involved in some kind of a sport, you can go out and walk. If that's out of your comfort zone, walk a little farther than you normally would. Walk till you wear yourself out. Not every day, but sometimes. Walk up a steep hill that's really going to wear you out. If you're in good shape and you like to run, maybe go to a hill and run up and down that hill 10 or 15 times. I've done that also. If you're into some kind of karate, spar an extra round or punch the bag an extra round. If you do the same thing over and over and over every day and you never get out of what you're comfortable with, you will never get that feeling of fulfillment coming back to you. Get up in the morning and take a cold shower. Yeah, try that. I do it every morning. That'll wake you up. Do I always want to get in that cold shower? No, I don't. But do I feel great after I get out? 99.9% of the time, I do. As compared to if I took a hot shower or warm shower. I like those too. Don't get me wrong, that feels good. But the cold shower is much more invigorating. You can check out Wim Hof. He talks about how the cold water actually, releases something within your body that actually helps you from getting sick. What's he say? A cold shower a day keeps the doctor away. And I believe that to be true. I very seldom ever feel ill. And I'm 60, I'll be 62 in June. And I mean, I'll be a show off here, but look, I'm in great shape. And don't believe, if you're older, don't believe that after 40 it's over, because that is bullshit. Bullshit. But I'm telling you, in the US, when you get to be about 50, they start sending you these AARP retired person's things. It's almost like they try to make you feel old. And many of your friends and family may tell you the same thing. Let's say if I had a wife here. Well, honey, you better not run so hard. You're not as young as you used to be. Or if you get hurt, well, you don't heal as fast as you used to. That's all bullshit too. But if you believe it, it'll be true for you. The reason I know that's bullshit is because I have kids from 13 years old to 21, okay? I have a couple older daughters that are out of the house. 3 of my boys work with me, sometimes 4. They get hurt. They complain about aches and pains. They have the same problems that I have. Actually, I think sometimes worse. Now, is it because of their age? Probably not. Is it because of my age that I have problems? Probably not. Maybe it's just because that's how life is. That's how life unfolds. We have aches and pains. So many times here in the States or in the Western world, we want to run away from pain. We need to embrace pain. I'm not talking about a cancer patient who's dying, and if he doesn't take the morphine, he just is in excruciating pain. Although maybe for some people, I don't see how they could be good, but good and bad is relative to what side of the fence you're standing on. But what I'm talking about here is pain like from running, from working out, maybe if you broke your arm, there's pain there. That pain is good because it keeps you from moving that arm and hurting it worse than before. I broke my shoulder riding my kid's scooter about 4 or 5 years ago. And of course, everybody says, you're too old for that. When I was 13, I had a bicycle accident and I ended up in a hospital all night. I had broken bones from riding my other bicycles and wrecking. Nobody said you're too old for that then, did they? So what's the difference? There's no difference. It's just a mindset that people get when they get older. So remember that. It's in your mind. Sure, we're all going to pass away. Yeah, someday. But so many people die before they're ever buried because they think they're supposed to. Do people make fun of me? Do people ridicule me? I'm sure some do because I act like a kid. If I'm walking down the sidewalk and I want to get up on the curb and balance walk on it or run on it, I'm going to do it. I don't give a shit what they say. Who cares? Have fun with your life. Enjoy your life. It's not over when you're 50, 60, 70, or 80. Some of the guys that I admire the most are 80 years old and they're still working. What they tell me is, I'm never going to retire. They're enjoying their life. One guy was driving a concrete truck, and he was the guy that lets the concrete out of the mixer on the back. And then another guy was remodeling houses. Sure, I bet they hear it almost every day. You're too old for that. You better slow down. Slow down, why? You are here to be of service to other people. Push yourself. You are only limited by the limits you set upon yourself. I'm sure you've heard that, but it's true. Every limit you have is a limit you have pressed and impressed upon yourself. Nobody else has done it. You have done it. And guess what? If you did it, you can change it. You have the power to transform your life. What is your story? What is the story you have been telling yourself since you were born, since you were a teenager, since you turned 20, since you got married and had kids, since your kids grew up and went to school or got out of high school? Now they're in college and they have their own kids maybe. You're at home by yourself, maybe divorced or with a wife. What is the story you're telling yourself now? Is it that you're too old? Life's gone. There's no sense in starting now. I started the new business, this YouTube channel. I wrote 2 books and published them. I started that 2 or 3 years ago. Plus I have my other business, which I started many years ago. I'm not special. I'm not unique. You have that same thing inside of you. Maybe you're doing more than I'm doing now, but there's another level you can go to. You must always be expanding. Not to be somebody great, not to be somebody known or fantastic. Sure, that'll come with it. But just because that gives you the fulfillment you're looking for in life. For a man, it's not the goal, the destination. It's the joy in the journey. I used to think, well, I got a race coming up. I got to go out there and train. I never enjoyed the training. Or I went to the boxing and I would go to the gym and get beat up every night, 5 nights a week to make it to the fight. And I'd win the fight and it was like, yeah, that was great for about 20 minutes. And then that fades away. I never realized till I was in my 50s or 60s, I think my 50s, that the joy is in the journey. I mean, that's a old cliche, it's an old saying, but it's so true. One night I went out to run. I was training for a race about 2 or 3 years ago, maybe 4, time flies. And my boys were out in the park with a couple other friends, and a couple of their friends started running with me. I've told this story before, but for the sake of those who haven't heard it. And they were 15, 16 years old. I was going to run 3 miles. So we took off and I thought, these guys are gonna smoke me. I was in good shape. And we started running and we sprinted pretty well the whole way, good run. And one of them dropped out about halfway and the other one didn't finish. He dropped out about 2 blocks from the finish. Now, but the feeling I got, or the fullness I got from that was not that I beat these young boys. It was just the whole setup, the whole evening, the whole experience. I finished up and I felt like $1 million. And I thought, man, this is what it's all about. Totally unexpected, living in the moment. They just happened to run with me. And I like to run by myself sometimes because I don't like people, unless I'm going with a group of runners who are better than I am. But I just went with it and it was just great, man. It was awesome. And I've had other experiences like that. So if you're thinking that when you retire, when you get this goal, or when you get this money, or when your IRA matures, or whatever the hell it is, that you're going to do this or that and you're going to feel great and fulfilled, it's not true. Today is the day, the present moment. If you don't feel it now, if you're not having a fulfilling, contented life now, you're never going to have it. If you think it's contingent on something in the future, now is the future that you were waiting for yesterday. Everything you have today is something you wanted yesterday. Probably something you thought that was going to make your life better, or more comfortable, or more fulfilled. Maybe not consciously, but subconsciously you thought, if I just get that new bed, if I just get that Ferrari, if I get that new Cadillac, if I get that RV, if I get that Harley Davidson, man, I can't wait to get that. You're dreaming about it, you're thinking about it. And this is all good and fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're wasting the present moment, then guess what? When you get that Harley or Ferrari or Cadillac, it'll be the present moment then. What are you going to be dreaming about then and not enjoying the fullness of the moment you're in then? Or when you get that body, when you get in shape. Man, when I get in shape, the girls are gonna like me. Bullshit. I'll tell you what though, if you're in shape and you like the way you look, you will project an aura of attractiveness. And that's what they'll see. How you feel about yourself. And that goes back to this whole message I'm telling you about. these things have to be congruent with how you feel about yourself. When you feel that way about yourself, everything flows when you feel good. Everything flows from that, flows from within you. There are many guys out there that think they're not handsome, and they think there's no way they could ever get a good-looking woman. But that's not true. I've seen it many times. Well, that's another video. I'm getting way off topic here. What was the topic? Push yourself. Get up and do something today that takes you out of your comfort zone. Whether it's a walk in the woods, I don't know, go meet people you don't know, talk to somebody in the grocery store, go to the gym and work around, get in there and spar with a guy that you're afraid to spar with, do an extra, a round of tennis, whatever, or play basketball, push yourself, play an extra, I don't even watch basketball, what's it called? Quarter. Play an extra quarter, extra 10 minutes. Just do something physically that gets you out of your comfort zone. Quit sitting behind behind the computer or the telephone, living vicariously through some app, okay? Get out there, experience the real world. I guarantee you, your life will be better for it. Today is the day. Take action today. And I'm going to get out of here. If you'd like to get my help personally, website, marksinspiration.com, or if you want to find out something more about me, I'm going to have a newsletter coming out every month. Put your email in there and I will send that to you once a month. I haven't started that yet. You can be the first. We're supposed to be setting that up on my website. So I got to go, man. I've got a lot of stuff to do. Taking Spanish lessons today. Maybe I'll take the kids somewhere. That's a challenge. Definitely gets me out of my comfort zone, getting all of them in the car. All right, take care.